What's good with y'all, man? It's your boy Will back with another video. Now today, I just want to bring up and present another video for you guys. I've been seeing a lot of talk and a lot of different, hot takes and videos about the Cleveland Browns. And I just want to be very cut and dry and very open and honest with you guys. I like to be transparent and unbiased with my YouTube channel. We do mostly like 5-4 videos a week here. Make sure you hit that sub button once the NFL season starts coming up. Probably be doing 7 videos a week. This is just like coming to like the before football time, so a little bit died down, a little bit slower, getting a little bit less content out to y'all. But get back to the video. A lot of people have been making their hot takes and making their opinions on the Browns, and when you go to do the AFC North, you're gonna hop on that Bengal bandwagon. You're gonna hop on that Steelers bandwagon, and you think the Ravens is going to be better than the Browns. So obviously the Browns going to be that team you throw in the trash. The Browns is the team with the most talent, and the Browns is also the team with the most bad fortune and the most as far as like not being good across the board. As far as delivering expectations, the Browns probably the worst team. We're not going to talk about how Baltimore Ravens ain't won playoffs games, or neither have the Pittsburgh Steelers in a very long time. But nonetheless, in the national media, the Cleveland Browns is the team to talk about. That's going to be a team to make your hot takes. Say they win 5 games, or the coach is going to get fired, or it's kind of the cliche thing, and it's kind of been where the Browns has been at the past couple of years. But as everybody know, the Browns made a huge risk and took a huge bet and gamble, trading 3 first-round picks and a couple of other picks for Deshuan Watson. Watson, who hasn't played in a very long time, had a 700-day layoff, came back and looked pretty mid and subpar. Now, me personally, I feel like Watson played about 3 good above-average games and 3 bad games. I feel like actually 2 bad games, 1 good game, and 2 B- games. He was very inconsistent, but he had a lot of good flashes depending on the game. He played a really good game against the Commanders. I felt like he had a B- game against the Bengals. I felt like he had a B game against the Saints, a B+ game against the Ravens, a D- game against the Texans, and a D+ game against the Steelers. His first and his last 2 games were his worst 2 games, in my opinion. I feel like other than those 2 games, he looked pretty much above average. And just looking at the circumstances, it's kind of obvious of why he look above average. But the national media and the national light, they're gonna go out their way to talk and pretty much try to say the man played terrible in all 6 games, which is not true at all. If you look at that Bengals game, him and Joe Burrow have very similar numbers. If you look at that Ravens game, he beat the Ravens in terrible weather conditions, and that's a top 5 defense. And you look at the Commanders game, they struggled early and came out hot and scored 3 touchdowns in the second half. It looked like he really started to gather his feet, and then they went, and of course, he played that bad game at Pittsburgh. But besides that, I wanted to talk about this 2023 season for the Cleveland Browns. They have offered and brought in a lot of guys. They brought in Cedric Tillman, Elijah Moore, Marquise Goodwin. The list goes on of different weapons as far as Jordan Atkins that the Browns has brought in to give Deshaun a lot of help. And they also have changed his offense around a lot to pretty much be tailor-made for what Deshaun likes and what Stefanski likes, and kind of like a marriage of both. And they look to run a lot of different shotguns. Running a lot out of shotgun, doing a lot of different RPO sets, so we'll see how that looks. And a lot of people are going to get into the scheme and the schematics of what this means and how the Browns will look, and what type of flaws the Browns can have, and why you should or shouldn't go with the Cleveland Browns based on a lot of different reasons. But the cut and dry reason, bro, is that if Deshaun Watson is good at football, the Cleveland Browns are going to win a lot of games. Plain and simple. Deshaun Watson is not good at football. The Cleveland Browns and their whole risk and gamble is going to completely blow up in everybody's face. And the NFL and the national media say they told you so, and say the Browns is the Browns. So obviously, that's not pretty good for anybody. that'd be pretty bad because, you know, guys like probably the entire head coaching staff will probably be fired in that scenario. The team would probably try to move on from Deshaun, but with all that guaranteed money, it'd be pretty difficult to do that. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that doomsday scenario is going to happen. Hopefully, I could come back to this in about, what's this? This is August 7th, August 6th. I'm recording this video. So hopefully I could come back to this video in about from 2-3 months from now and be like, hey, I was spot on. But I think the Browns is going to come out and they're going to beat Joe Burrow. Well, they're going to beat the Bengals. Probably Joe Burrow probably won't play. I think they'll go down and they'll beat the Steelers on Monday Night Football. And I think the Browns will get off to a really hot start. But it'll be tailor-made with a lot of people saying that they're not really beating anybody good. I think that's going to kind of be the storyline. It's going to be like the Browns having to prove themselves in big games. You know, and that's kind of always been Deshaun Watson's storyline. Just watch Colin Cowherd. You know, you got to take everything he says with a grain of salt, but he just pretty much said that, you know, Deshaun Watson is 24-10 against non-playoff teams, and I think 9-18 against playoff teams. But you got to keep in mind he lost 12 games with the Houston Texans, and probably most of those was against those playoffs teams that he got a lot of those losses to. Anyways, though, it's pretty cut and dry, man. If this Cleveland Browns team is going to move, they're going to take them, and they're going to go as far as Deshaun Watson can take them, and they're going to stop as far as whenever Deshaun Watson stops at. That's what it's going to come down to. The Browns have won and lost a lot of games by a very slim margin, and you lose a lot of games by a very slim margin when you're not playing with a top-tier quarterback. You know, we talk about this with Baker all the time, how everything had to be perfect for him to win. That's not the case with all top-tier quarterbacks. It's football, and bad luck and bad stuff and bad calls is going to happen. And the simple fact is that you can't expect everything to be perfect. So in those scenarios where the Browns look good, check all the boxes, but something's going wrong, can Deshaun Watson save them like a top quarterback? Can Deshaun Watson take them over the bump? Can Deshaun Watson go back and forth with a Joe Burrow? Can Deshaun Watson close the game out when a team is coming back on the Browns? That was another issue. You know, a team would be down 14, come down, score, be down 7, the Browns go 3-0. They don't got a quarterback. You know, stuff like that happens when you're playing with a subpar quarterback. Is Deshaun Watson going to be able to put teams away? Is Deshaun Watson going to be able to go down there and win football games? Because that is where the Browns struggle. The Browns struggle with putting teams away, and the Browns struggle with dealing with controversy when something goes wrong, because they expect everything to be perfect because they're not playing with they're not playing with an elite quarterback. You know, Pat Mahomes, the Chiefs, everything can go wrong. They still go win that game. You know, Joe Burrow, so much as I don't like the Bengals, you know, something go wrong. Joe Burrow can scrape a dub out. You know, that's the difference between a 8-win team and an 11-win team. It's those 3 critical games where you're not supposed to win or you're supposed to win and some BS happened and you come out that game still a winner, or you come out that game on the losing end like the Browns did last season. We could go over about 5 different games or so where the Browns were a play away for winning 10 games, winning 11 games. Just the Chargers game alone, you know, K. York misses the game-winning field goal. The Panthers game, K. York made a game-winning field goal. The Jets game, simply just couldn't get a stop. Back-to-back blown coverages. We could talk about the Falcons game where Jacoby Brissett threw a pick. The Saints game where Amari Cooper dropped a touchdown pass. I could go on and on with different games. The Ravens game where Amari Cooper caught a touchdown pass and they got called for the weakest OPI call in the league. I mean, not in the league, but like out of the whole season. Like, he barely pushed off, and that game cost him. That play cost him. Those little marks, those little things that don't go your way, it's the reason why we only won 7 games last year. When the Browns and the Kevin Stefanski era has had elite quarterback play, they're one of the best teams in football. And we're a mediocre team when we have mediocre quarterback play. This team, this offense, and everything around it is tailor-made for a good top 5, top 8, a level quarterback to take them over the hump and make a push, a Super Bowl push, just like the Eagles did last year. You put Gardner Minshew on the Eagles, they're going to win about 9 games. They're going to win about 8 games. So that's the difference between Gardner Minshew and Jalen Hurts, is what we see out of the Philadelphia Eagles. It's going to be the same way with Deshaun Watson. I think he'll deliver. I think the Browns are going to win about 11 games. I said that. I made that as my prediction. I will be more concerned with the Baltimore Ravens more than anything. Just with Todd Monken and that system, I really don't trust their offensive coordinator. But you guys, like I said, we shall see. We shall see. We shall see. I will say, now keep in mind, I like to foresee the future. If Joe Burrow don't play and the Browns come out and they go up and they start up 3-0, beating the Bengals, Titans, and the beating the Bengals, Titans, and the Steelers, and they come out in week 4 and they beat Baltimore and they start 4-0, it's gonna be a lot of people calling cap. It's gonna be a lot of people saying they haven't beat anybody. So keep that in mind. Now, I don't think they start 4-0, but it's not impossible. If they don't play Joe Burrow week 1, they beat the Steelers and they beat the Titans and they go and they beat Baltimore at home. It's not out of the question that they can start off 4-0. And if they start off 4-0, the Cleveland, the city, is going to be rocking. So we shall see. I do think that the Browns are capable of beating the Bengals with or without Joe Burrow. I do think the Browns are capable of beating the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. I think they should beat the Titans, and I think they were going to beat the Ravens just because they've casually beat the Ravens in Cleveland. They beat the Bengals in Cleveland. You know, they're a very good divisional home team. Their home record is pretty good. They only really struggled against the Steelers at home. They beat the Steelers last year. So it's going to really come down to if Joe Burrow plays. That's going to be a key factor. If the Browns can beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh, that'll be a big factor. How this team will look. Because you can start off 0-2 and then beat the Titans and lose to the Ravens. That's 1-3. That's not a good look. You can start off 4-0. You know, those first 4 games is going to tell us a lot about how we're going to be looked at and we're going to be painted at. And it's going to tell us a lot about Deshuan Watson and Kevin Stefanski and this Browns team and see how they move. Well, you guys comment down below how y'all feel about this. Comment down below if you got a prediction on what's going to happen over the first 4 games. And comment down below how you feel about Deshuan Watson on the football field. It's your boy, Will. I hope y'all appreciate this video. I'm out. Peace.